Yo, how's it going? It's Teray here, owner of BINZU97. Uh, this is we're doing a ton of questions here. I got a lot of questions on Instagram regarding the brand, our next steps, what we're planning to do, how we got started. So pretty much this video is just it's pretty much a BINZU97 FAQ. So frequently asked questions. This will just be for the general access for all of this stuff. Fantastic. This will be accessible for everyone for a long time. Cool. So first question is what made you start it? So originally, at the time, I had a lot of friends that had brands. But it was all different vibes. Like some people were doing cuts, so some people were also doing print tees. And me at the time, I had been a photographer I'd just been playing with the camera now for, at that point, a couple of years. So I started this in roughly, I was a city college student in San Francisco, so this must have been around 2016, going into 2017, just doing projects for class, and I decided that I wanted to make maybe more of an ongoing project. So thankfully, this was my business. This is my photography and any clothing designs I decide to make. The main push of this brand currently today is the photography, but the clothing, I mean, I'm pushing it pretty well. I'm coming up with more designs, but the main focus is still the photography, the way that the work is showcased. Technically, the true product is the photography versus the clothing, where the clothing is merchandise. I cannot say that was originally the idea. It's kind of what I've shifted gears to over time as I realized where my interests actually lie within the company and the business, and the lane that it's in. So the reason I started it is mainly just because I could. I wanted to have something that was completely mine, that's completely of my own, that I can do whatever I want with. I wanted to have that freedom and control over something, because life is not such. So in this case, I decided that I wanted my own creative thing that was completely just whatever I want to be, pretty much. So it was the need for a creative expression, and BINZU97 became that. Yes, so that is why I started it. I needed an outlet. Yeah, I needed an outlet. Cool. And someone asked, well, shout out to Anthony Das. Yeah, he asked a great question. Shout out to Anthony BINZU97. I'll make sure to put the little pictures of the questions on there so that people can see that these are real questions. I'm not just tooting my own horn here. You know what I'm saying? What are our plans for 2024? The plans I have, I really want to push photography more. Like I was just saying in the previous question, I want to push my photography a lot harder. I want that's like the main course, right? Like I know it costs more than the other products, but not only it goes into the making of the product, the shipping of the product, but also for my aspects into it outside of the development process, going and coming across these images and being able to capture them in a way that's nice and aesthetic, but also is like on brand technically. Like I like really nice things. I like that has that kind of shiny, glittery vibe to it. It's water, right? Ice, right? Clean. But like, yeah, that's what I'm pushing now, because I've studied photography, and the clothing, I just make things when I feel like I want something in a certain color. As far as locations, we don't really have any locations set. Like 2023, in retrospect, was a great year. I kind of just went with the wind on that one. There was just a lot of stuff going on, so I ended up in a lot of different places, which was really fun, and it was great eye-opening, because some of the spots I had never been to before, like such as Japan, and it's funny enough, San Diego. I had never been to San Diego before. I had a good time there. Japan, I had a great time there. I met a lot of people. I got to see some old friends. Shout out to Shumpei. Shout out to my boy, the dudes I met out there. Shout out to Gino. Damn. And homie, hold on. I can't leave him out right here. I can't leave him out. His name's skipping my mind, but I can't leave him out because he's a good dude. No friends. Jen. Shout out my boy Jen. There we go. Jen, dope dude, great DJ. It was the first time I met him out there. That was cool. Yeah, now I'm kind of in a retrospect. But as far as 24 goes, I kind of have to see what we did in 2023. Right now, I think it's really just kind of doubling hard on brand image. Where we go is just where we ended up going, right? If the cards and the stars align, the shit happens. I'm like, fantastic. Let's make that. Do it, Nike. I always got my camera right. I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna see something. I'm gonna take a photo. I'm not really rushing that process. I'm not really going completely out of my way to do anything that I'm not really like into per se. But you know, with people coming around, opportunities appear, and we do things just like that. That's kind of how that goes. Not much planning as far as locations go. And right now, when it comes to designing, it's kind of like I got a couple new platforms I'm using, software to help me, or not necessarily to help me, but to help me design different things. Kind of like just I want a more from grasp on graphic design, 3D printing, 3D design, things of that nature. And besides that, honestly, the plan is just we're gonna keep promoting our work. We're gonna keep posting work, and the work will continue to be made. That is the plans for 2024. Awesome. Shouts to Anthony BINZU97. All right, and now, yes. So that also answers that question when we started, which was in 2016. Someone asked, "How cool am I?" I have to live that for you guys to decide. In my mind, I'm a great person. Yep. So, I mean, maybe hopefully that'll help you decide, right? Shout out to Jordan Coffee. Creative director is a visionary. I completely agree. So having a vision into the future is a great thing to have. Like I said, right now my mind is like encompassed. I'm learning a language. I'm working with photography. I'm working with new gear. I'm finding what kind of styles I like all over again. Fun, right? I love photography. I love art. So diving into that deeper is awesome. And having a creative expression that doesn't have too much influence on it is also fun. You know, not to be bogged down with expectation in that sense, but to just be able to enjoy yourself and make what you want to make. It's pretty cool. You know, you get a lot of responses, you know, visually. Out and about, you're rocking the stuff, people, right? Okay, you definitely get I definitely get some looks, but it's not bad. A look is good. Eye-catching. Someone's asking, Isla Electric, fashion show, new pieces coming up. Well, there's always new pieces. I have stuff that's just sitting over there that I don't know when I'll release them. They're just like a basic one-off for a house show that I did, showcasing some of my photography, showcasing a couple of clothes, and then I got stuff that's in the works. I have designs I've never printed. I got colorways I just haven't done yet. They're just there, waiting for the right time, I guess. They're waiting for their cue per se. That's kind of how I work. It's kind of like I see this, and I'm like, all right, I got that in there. I'm not sure when that time is gonna come for that said piece, but in the future, it'll happen. So there's always new pieces. A fashion show, I don't know. I guess I kind of technically left that for like more prestigious brands, I guess you could say. I know fashion shows don't have to be prestige only, but I don't know if that really fits the aesthetic I'm going for. I guess really my brand, from my point of view, it has more of a skater touch to it, because like their clothes are pretty good. You wouldn't look crazy for doing something a little extreme in them whatsoever. and I fucking love skateboarding. I've been skating since I was like 11, and I'm good enough, right? I can do some shit, but I may not really be flinging myself off shit, like not really, but you know, I would love for that to be kept on going forward. That's why I release skateboards. I put my own work on them, whatever designs I want on them. I release them, and you know, people that buy them, I hope they skate them, they shred them. Every time I release a new board, it's because I needed a new one. So that's kind of my timeline as far as those skateboard releases go. As far as yeah, that is pretty much basically that brand. That portion of the brand is definitely for that. These hoodies, I'm like, they look good, but you'll definitely look good shredding them, running up in video skating them. I guess, I mean, that's also good for me, for my brand, but also I think it looks dope. I think it's a great brand. I love it. It's mine. So of course I have that bias. But if I think one of my designs really suck though, and it's in retrospect, like later on I'm like, oh fuck, I mean this shit just won't be on the site anymore. But just because it's not on the site does not necessarily mean that it sucks. It just means that that was a cycle. Like I guess that kind of comes into saying like a fashion show. The fashion show low key happens on the website. Like this piece comes out, then this piece comes out, then this piece comes out. I guess I could just drop an entire collection at once instead of doing like one, we're shooting this one, we're letting this one go, this one's coming in, this one, alright, now this one. But I kind of like to convey a vibe, to almost make a statement with the work if possible. Uh, I think that is just like, it's fun that way, you know. It keeps they have a common goal technically, right? Like the clothing, the pieces have a common goal. These are your generated works, right? Like you conjured up this, and now it's talking, it's walking, it's talking, right? Like hopefully that's what you want your work to do to some extent, if that's what you're trying to do. If but yeah, that's as far as like fashion show new pieces. I mentioned earlier, there's always new pieces, but they have not really been finalized. Right now, I said we're doing the Kitai branding, because I'm learning Japanese still, so I'm just introducing that into my work, introducing that into my everyday life, because I feel like that type of immersion outside of actually having to be in a country that speaks that language, it helps. Yeah, keeps it in your mind, keeps it fresh, right? Cool. But yeah. And Hono Heroes asked, where do you get inspiration from? My inspiration, I think it comes from a lot of stuff. I browse a lot of images. I just be checking things out, just on Tumblr. I still use Tumblr. I use a Xiaohongshu, Twitter, Instagram. I use those apps, and I just be scrolling. I see a lot of cool stuff, a lot of brands that I like and I enjoy. Like, I love Misbehave, I love Drop Dead, I love Wild Style, Otaku Mob. I love their work, right? And then not only that, like I get inspiration from anime, and it's just little stuff that I peep about things. I'm like, oh, that makes that character kind of gangster, or that makes that character it's a very definitive trait about that character, or a very definitive trait about this image. And maybe for some time it sticks with me, and my subconscious is all like, oh, maybe I can make a character like that, like within my work, right? Because I'm not necessarily like, I don't want to copy, right? So I have inspiration to, I allow myself to be influenced to a certain extent, but I don't allow myself to, I don't just flat plain out copy. I can't do that. I would just feel so just inadequate, right? So, yeah, my inspiration, not only does it come from, well, pretty much it mostly comes from visual works. Sometimes songs will stick out to me over time, certain vibes. Like I'll use a song to kind of help me convey a vibe within my work. I'm like, oh, or if I'm taking I'm taking photos out and about. I'm always listening to music. I got headphones. I have thousands and thousands and thousands of songs in my library. I have hundreds of thousands of songs in my library that I just be listening to shit, and I love music so much. So I guess you could say between music, photography, anime, and other clothing, I mean, my interests are where I get my inspiration from, most definitely. But there are definitely things that surprise me, and they stick with me, and I wonder in what ways I can replicate that respectfully in my work, if necessary. Because I can also just be a fan of these things and not take from them, and I can still be happy with that. I don't, you know, like I said, I'm not into like flat copying, and if I feel like I'm taking of influence, I'm going to credit my muse. I like to credit muses because if I'm ever a muse, I would love to know that, right? I would love to be credited for that in the same way that credit is important. So yeah, inspiration comes from a lot of things, even just simple designs. Sometimes just staring at a bike when it's upside down or some shit. You're like, wow, it's such a simple design, but it's so aesthetic and fluid and perfect. So we got Astris here. How many more skateboards you're gonna make? Like I said, I make a skateboard every time I need a new one. If I get a lot of requests, maybe if you request some image or something, you guys are all like, we want this shit, then fuck it, I'll make it. But usually, when I need a new one, I design a new one before I start skating it. I take some photos. pretty much. Jam 2 Room. Do you ship abroad? Yes. We ship to Europe, Asia, South America. And if your country's not on there, on the list, let me know. I can add it to there. But I've tried to add as many countries as I could. Right now, I'd say that our main promotional / focus areas outside of the United States are in Tokyo, like Japan, parts of Hong Kong, also in Europe, London, Berlin also. But we ship abroad. I know if I remember correctly, there should be like Thailand on there. I'm pretty sure I have most of those countries listed. You can go on the website and you can take a look. Like I said, we do ship abroad though. We have no reason not to ship abroad. We really love to ship abroad. Shipping overseas is one of my favorite things to do because the mail person just looks at me like, damn bro, overseas? I'm like, yeah bro, overseas. It's simple. I love that, right? So yes, we ship abroad. And Maki Piers, when something is like 1 of 25 or 1 of 1, what would be cool to say is if it's limited, builds exclusivity. Yes, I'm all down for building exclusiveness. For the limited edition runs, 1 of 1, I don't usually announce that it's a limited print. I just have a limit based on how many can be ordered until I restock this image, right? So usually I have about 5 per size that I allow to be put into that are allowed to be bought of each one, no matter who's bought it or whatever. I usually allow 5 each. I don't leave like infinity, like you can order any amount. Like, yeah, I'll get the money to pay for it, right? To fund it, to do all that stuff. So technically, I could leave it on infinity if necessary. But it is like once ordered, product is made, right? So technically, no, I'm not really sitting here with a bunch of dead stock. Not sitting here pressed like, oh, I gotta get all this shit out here. Like, I'm pushing it. It's kind of like it's almost like a cloud-based brand because I don't necessarily have the space for all of that, but also it's kind of like a lot of money gets tied up, and if I see numbers grow and if the numbers are doing more, then I'd be more inclined to have a lot of in-house stock of these works. But right now, pretty much you can order any amount, unless I just decide that this is going to be a limited run. The most limited run things will probably only be prints and or lookbooks. So most of the clothing you can get at any number, maximum maybe like 20. I think is the max I put on there. So, but I can totally understand that sometimes when you see that something is sold out, when you've been thinking about for how long, it can kind of build like, oh shit, this was actually a hot item. Damn, should have got here earlier, and maybe it'll change for next time. But at the same time, I want you to get this piece. So it's kind of like, the building of exclusivity is really good, but I just we're working on it. We're working on it. It's there. You order it, you'll get it though. Facts. Is Donzel asks, what's something that can always put a smile on your face? Personally, since this is like a brand centric thing, I love when people check out. I love giving my work to people. It's fun. I love that. I love that when people have my prints and they send me photos of them, like in their home and they're on the walls and things like that. That makes me happy because I have a lot of posters. I have my own work on the wall. I have other people's work on the wall, my friends' work, and then just stuff that I like. So to be put in with that, like that kind of setup is just like stuff that you enjoy, things you see regularly that help influence your day, or gives you vibes and shit like that. That's always awesome to me. I love that, and so for me, I love selling prints, hoodies and shirts and hats. The merchandise is awesome because they're also my designs. I'm proud of them as well, and I also am just, like I've studied photography for some time, and I've just been trying to put in I think my photography is like my 2 cents on the world, low key. I saw this and I said, what the fuck, or like this was nice, or it was just something that stood out to me, and I posted. I captured it in a nice way that I enjoy, and I want that to be shared amongst more people, whether it's a striker of conversation, or just an admiring of a viewpoint, or just whatever it may be for you and those people around. If I can help with that in some extent, I love that. So that makes me happy. Prince. W. In Valencia 86, what is your dream location for a shoot? Low key, I've been really wanting to shoot at like a castle like in Harry Potter. I kind of love that old gothic style, but also I grew up watching that movie from like a young age, so I've been like a huge HP fan for stupid long. Just like since before I could even understand what half that shit meant. Before Hogwarts was like actually a disgusting discovery of what Hogwarts is, because then you really think about Hogwarts and you're like, that's disgusting. Who would want to go there? Like that's a crazy world right there that lady made. But I love the series and kind of what it grew into as far as the characters and their development, and just it's a great story. So I would love to visit the castle slash school that they shot location at, which I believe is in like Ireland somewhere, something like that. At some point, I don't even care when, as long as I do at some point go there. But I'll admit that Ireland, Scotland is not like gigantically high on my list, but I will definitely be there at some point just to do that. I'll probably have like Slytherin robes on and everything. Yep. And underscore Shibuya, what is the cheapest but best film camera you love? So I would say I bought my Nikon N6006 from a friend when I was studying at San Francisco City. I bought that camera from him for like $40. Film camera. I love that camera so much. The camera body itself is generally inexpensive. It may be about $20 to $35 depending where you find it. But the lens is really what put me on. So the lens was the lens I bought in the kit. Like he sold it to me as one whole thing. I love that lens so much. If the body went out, I'd replace the body, but I pray nothing happens to my lens. I love that lens. I actually need to get I would love to use that lens on some of my other cameras, so I'll probably get one of those, like one of those things to make it compatible, shit like that. Again, Sony to Nikon, something like that, right? My other second favorite camera is my Canon net. I bought that from a Creative Reuse Depot in Oakland for like $15. It's just a really simple old point and shoot from like 1972 that I loved so much, and I'll make sure to throw in a couple photos from each of those cameras so you see like why I love them so much. And then my most recent point and shoot camera that I got is a Olympus XA2. So that camera is also really good. It's there to pretty much replace my Canon net since it's kind of some parts of it have broken. The battery is stopped working. When I was in Japan, I went to try to get it fixed, and they were just like, "Oh, that thing's done." So I was like, "Damn, maybe they just wanted me to buy a new camera. Maybe it was a language barrier." But I was so sad because that was like my quick, that's my quick one, right? Instead of always having to pull out the big one with the lens, but that camera I love too, so it wasn't so bittersweet. But I brought a lot of gear with me, and I took a lot of photos, so it worked out in the end. I wasn't gonna let that put a damper on me, but when I return at some point, I plan to do more photos, and I won't have that same issue. But I love that camera. I love the Nikon Insta6, Canon QL17 G3. Love that great camera, and I'm really happy with the way that the XA2 is turning out. Yeah, so the XA2 was a little more expensive. I got that for about $100. It's a small, really compact camera with a flash piece, but it's actually like, it's such a small camera, but it gets such crisp photo for like such a small lens. It's a wonder, really. It's really good. And India and White, what vibes projects can we expect to see from you in 2024? Well, like I kind of mentioned earlier, this is a question that I went over pretty well. I guess sometimes I kind of do and going with the flow. Like I said, I plan to push the photography a lot harder. As far as the clothing goes, I'm working with like new software to design different things instead of just kind of like more flat 2D or just like just different images. It's gonna be definitely a learning curve, and we'll get some limited versions of stuff, and it's really cool. I'm excited for what kind of stuff I'm gonna come across, because to an extent, I love like just putting my photography on a piece and just throwing my logo on there and being like aesthetic, like got a little piece up here. It's just symmetrical here on the bottom side. Photos there, nice and flat, clean. I like that. It's a great thing. With bags and stuff, it's really cool. And if I find more opportunities to do different type of garments that I think are really nice and cool, I'll do that too.